there, this is Linda Jo Martin, known as the Book Lady on YouTube. I'm going to change my channel name to Linda Book Lady because I found out Dolly Parton is also using the term Book Lady for her work in giving away books to children, which I think is really cool, and I love Dolly Parton very much. So I am going to change my channel name to Linda Book Lady so that we know that this book lady is not the one that is more famous. So I've been using this channel name since 2014. I do not know who started using Book Lady first, but in the future, when you look for me, it will be Linda Book Lady. So anyhow, getting on with life, I am doing my end of month, start of month type video. It'll be a wrap up for last month and a TBR for this month. And I'm going to be reading off my little telephone, so that's how it's going to go. I have some of the books, but not all of them. So some of them are digital copies, like the first one that I read last month, which was Girl with a Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier. I hope that's how you say her name. Or Chevalier. I kind of think the R might be silent. Anyhow, getting on with it. It wasn't my favorite book ever. I thought it didn't say enough. It was like the girl was a servant in the house of a famous artist, and there was a lot of tension between her and the wife of the artist, and apparently he was using her to clean his brushes and do other art-related tasks. But for some reason this was being done behind the wife's back, and it seemed like she was falling in love with him. But it wasn't never plainly stated. It's because she was a servant, so she felt like she couldn't talk, and it just frustrated me. But it was a nice story, and I remember seeing the movie many years ago, and I liked it a lot. I think I liked the movie better than the book in this case. However, still a nice story. It's not a true story. The painting is for real, but the book is based on the painting and who the subject of this painting might have been and what her relationship to the artist might have been. Girl with a Pearl Earring. And so I've also been reading Charlotte's Web. This is the second time I've read this book, and I remember reading it like in the early 1970s. I took a children's literature class in college with Holly Stevenson as my instructor. I did not know what happened to her. She was so precious. It was at Shasta College in Redding, California. Anyhow, this was a assigned reading, and I liked it then and I liked it this time too. And that's kind of unusual because a lot of times I reread books and I don't like them as much the second time. But this one has withstood the test of time, and this particular book was published when I was 3 months old, and it won, well, it was a Newbery Honor Book in 1953, and still, it's an excellent story, and it's well written. The spider that lives next to the pig is Charlotte, so of course she has a web. Anyhow, great book. I'm sure you've probably heard the story or seen the movie or something, but this was a lot of fun. I really, really like this book. So let's see. Now, last month also, I read Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. It was very methodical and well done. It was a well-organized novel about the work of Hercule Poirot, the detective, and I think all of Agatha Christie's novels are fantastic. I haven't read one that I didn't like, and I would like to read more one of these days if that happens. So be it. I have been reading on the Christian level The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. And I didn't get very far last month. I actually had a very bad reading month because I was too focused in on the political aspects of life and not on the reading aspects of life. And I am trying to correct my evil ways and become more into reading and less into politics. So give me time. Hopefully this month will be better, but I kind of doubt it because the politics has just gone crazy. And then the other book that I had was 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and I didn't actually finish this till the end of the month, so I'm still reading it right now. Now, this one also, The Purpose-Driven Life, I'm also reading this still. So those two are carryover books. I finished a total of 3 books last month, which is really bad because I'm doing the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, and to finish that I have to read 4 or 5 books a month, so I'm already behind. Plus I'm doing the Newbery Variety Challenge, which is something I found over on Goodreads. And there's 17 books this year, and yeah, I need to get with it. Of course, Charlotte's Web will count as one of those books, and it also counts for the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. I don't actually use one book for 2 prompts on one challenge. Like on the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, it's 50 books for the year, and I will not double up. I will read 50 different books. But if I'm doing the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge and the Newbery Variety Challenge, then I feel it's okay if I use the same book for both challenges. Okay, hope I made that clear. Anyhow, let's go on to the next month. I have to go back to there. Let's see. I have to find it on my phone, so give me a minute. Okay. I'm reading this off my website. If you're ever wondering what I'm reading, I do keep, I say it's a daily writing journal there, or writing diary, a reading diary, but to be honest, I don't get in there every day, but almost daily reading diary, just so I have a record of what I read and when I started things and when I finished things. So this month is Black History Month, and I'm not really doing any of the challenges that are related to Black History Month, and last time I checked there was more than one. I don't really know all that much about it because I didn't do the research, but I am reading some African American literature that I had already planned for the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge this year, and I will try to concentrate that as much as I can into this month. So the books that I will be reading for Black History Month are The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison, which, as I understand it, is about a young black man who is trying to find his place in the world. And I'm using that for Pop Sugar Reading Challenge prompt number 2, which is an Afrofuturist book. Now, I don't really know how this is qualified as Afrofuturist, but it was on the list at Goodreads for this prompt. They have a list there for every prompt in the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge this year, and it was on that list, and I had a copy of the book already, so that is what I have chosen to read for that prompt. Now, the next prompt I will be reading for is a book on a Black Lives Matter reading list, and it is The Narrative of a Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave. I feel like this is one of those classic books or memoirs that I should have read years ago and never did, so I hope to get to it this month. And then the third one that I have planned for Black History Month is Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. And I think it's really possible that I read this book when I was a teenager. I know I read 2 books by James Baldwin. I think the other one was The Fire Next Time. And the first one could have been this one, Go Tell It on the Mountain. Anyhow, I'm planning to read it or read it again, whichever applies. See, I was a teenager many long years ago, and I don't remember the names of everything that I read when I was a teenager. Like, I know I read a series of Vonnegut books, and I don't really remember which ones. I remember definitely Slaughterhouse-Five and Cat's Cradle. I could not tell you what they were about. I know it was interesting, And there were some other books that I read by him, but I don't know all the titles. Anyhow, in case I finish those books that I have already mentioned during the month of February, which is kind of doubtful, but just in case, I have another one planned. It is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and it looks interesting. Not sure what it's about, but it's on a list for this prompt. Prompt number 11, a book about forgetting. So also for the Newbery Variety Challenge, I have a few books planned. So the first one I already read, and I think I have a copy of it right here. Yes. This is a beautiful book, so I wanted to show it to you. This is A Visit to William Blake's Inn, Poems for Innocent and Experienced Travelers. These are surrealist poems for children. I think that the illustrations are just fantastic. I love the illustrations. Amazing. I know. So the illustrators are Alice and Martin Provenson, and in 1982 this book won the Newbery Medal for the poetry, and it also won, it was a Caldecott Honor Book for the illustrations, and for me it was a feast for the eyes. I'm so glad I bought this because I really enjoyed the illustrations, and the poetry is kind of fun too. It's well constructed, although rather weird. Now the next one that I'm going to be reading is this one. Other Words for Home. I've shown this to you before because I was going to read it last year while I was living in the motel after the fire, but no, I didn't get it finished, so I'm going to read it now. And yeah, it's about a Syrian refugee. This was in a Newbery Honor Book last year, and it's pretty poetic. It won't take me very long to get through it. And then these are more books that I have planned. Juvenile literature, Newbery winner a few years ago. I think it was 2008. Good Masters, Sweet Ladies, Voices from a Medieval Village. And it's also poetic, and it has pictures, and really shouldn't take me too long to get through it. Look, there's even music. So that'll be a fun book to read. And I'm going to start the longest one that I have planned for the Newbery Challenge. And it is George Washington's World. It doesn't tell about George Washington per se, but it just tells a lot about what the world was like when he was in it. Let's see if I've covered everything. Yep, that is all. Of course, that's more than enough. And I'm also reading the Bible, of course. I'm currently reading the book of Job, also Psalms and Proverbs. I always have Psalms and Proverbs going while I'm reading the other books. So that is it. And I don't have much of a life update. I'm still living in the trailer, and my property has not been cleared up. As you mostly know, my property, my mobile home, burned to the ground last September in a forest fire, along with almost 200 other homes. And the county has not cleared off the property yet, but it should be pretty soon. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the property all cleared off. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening.